but she says she's like a super person in the gym, which is really interesting. She says, but she's got little red bumps that are rising up in the injection locations.
So
That's
what is red dots on the skin?
it's an inflammation response.
Correct. And so
Yeah,
why,
inflammatory.
why would you get an inflammation by taking a shot? Exactly. It's
Yeah.
toxicity. And so what's happening is your body is rejecting it.
Mm.
How do you stay so strong? Always find right in the wrong.
What if the key to living longer and better wasn't something on the other side of the horizon? Welcome to the Longevity Podcast Network, where science meets nature and real people uncover real solutions for living stronger, longer, and better. This isn't just another health podcast, it's a network. We go deeper. We explore the breakthroughs, the biohacks, the ancient remedies rediscovered, and the cutting edge research shaping the future of human health and performance. Today's guest has a journey that reads like a master class in organic living and rhythm. He grew up with his hands in the soil of an organic vegetable farm in Walla Walla, Washington, and we're going to have him talk about that. In beautiful Washington State, land of Sasquatch, by the way. And this was long before organic was a buzzword. I think he'll attest to that. His natural timing led him to a college scholarship as a drummer, but his ultimate beat was found in the wellness industry. With a career spanning an incredible 5 decades, he has transitioned from the farm to the forefront of nutritional and supplemental science, developing some of the most respected and cutting edge supplemental formulations in the world today. He's here to share some of that journey with all of us and give us some clarity into what's exciting about the here and now. Because longevity isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. Dino Guglielmelli, welcome to the Longevity Podcast Network.
Hi, Kelly. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. That was a long intro, but I thought it was necessary. There's so much that you have done and so much that you've experienced. So let's just kind of get into it. Give us a background, historically speaking. You grew up in Walla Walla, Washington. Tell us about the fam. Tell us about what led you to the point of life where you are at the forefront of supplementation and longevity.
Wow. So it's quite a journey, Kelly. I never thought for a second that I'd be doing what I'm doing. I always thought I was going to be drumming, writing music, touring, doing all that. And I still have a studio and I still write and play, as I think you know. You've heard some of my music. But yeah, I grew up the last of 8 children from an Italian family in Walla Walla, Washington. My dad was a farmer during the day and a musician at night. And I don't know how he did it. He slept 4 hours a day and worked his tail off. And we were, farm hands, taking care of the farm, changing sprinkler pipes, cutting onions, Walla Walla sweets, by the way. And it was a vegetable farm. It was very, very hard work. It wasn't like, alfalfa or wheat where, you get a combine out there. Not that that's easy. That's
Mhm.
difficult too. It's all difficult, but it's harder to make money when you're selling a crate of cabbage at a time or a crate of lettuce at a time. My dad would wake up on Tuesday mornings. He woke me up many years in a row at 5 in the morning, and we'd hit the road and we'd go to each grocery store, and he had a list of things that they'd ordered the week before, and we'd drop them off, and he'd tell me to go to the check stand. I'd grab get paid for the week's order, and then he'd get the order from the produce manager. We get in the truck and go to the next one. And we had we had a box truck, and that was the weekly delivery. So I started doing that at a very young age. Stepped on nails that went through my foot, all the way through my foot, my shoe, on the dock that was, sticking up from a pallet, dropped a hand truck on my big toe and ripped my toe off. Cut my fingers up a lot, chopping onions. But my dad was very adamant about it. He used, manure instead of synthetic fertilizers. He did everything he possibly could to keep the chemicals away from us, because ultimately it was about feeding his family,
Mhm.
which there was 8 of us. We were on a farm, and not easy to feed 8 kids when you're a farmer and a musician. So we were eating a lot of vegetables. And so in doing so, we wanted to make sure that he was feeding us as healthy as possible. So he was real adamant about that. And so that's kind of where I got it. But I also, ran away from it because it was a lot of work. I didn't want to work like that, even though I probably work as more hours than my dad now. You kind of get that in your DNA, I guess, when you grow up working those kind of hours, and so pretty much my whole life I've been working a lot of hours, and he always said, "Good luck comes to those who work hard,"
Yeah.
and so I'm driven by that mantra, and I believe in it, and so nothing came easy to him. He had to work for everything, scratch and work and sweat and battle for everything he got. And he ended up, being a very successful guy, a very good provider for mom and us kids. And he made sure we had everything we had. So I grew up in a very, very loving, caring household. It was all about family. And we got to, when we did spend time with dad, it was really special.
Yeah. And I grew up in and around a lot of Sicilians and Italians in the produce industry as well.
Mm.
And I know that they were up at the 5 in the mornings going down to the lake where the boats were coming in, or just where some of the frozen produce was coming in. They worked hard. They worked their butt off. I like to say I work hard and smart. Let's
Mhm.
get right into it because this is where we are in the here and now. Now, you've spent 5 decades in the space. What did the supplement industry look like when you first started? Who are the industry influencers and what fundamentally changed?
Hmm. Wow, that's a big question, and it kind of makes my head spin going back that far. So
Mm.
I go back to the early '90s, making dietary supplements. I started out with an organic food store because I wanted to kind of be like Mrs. Gooch's. I don't know if anybody knows, but Mrs. Gooch's ended up being Whole Foods, which ended up being a glorified grocery store. Anyway,
Did not know
but
that.
yeah, I think everybody agrees with me there, But it used to be where you could actually walk in, and Irwan is kind of like that. If you know who Irwan is, in LA, we have a store called Irwan. It's on La Brea, and you can walk in there and there's still somebody there that kind of knows a little bit about supplements. But back in the day, Mrs. Gooch's, you would walk into the store, and if you had a head cold, she'd go, "Oh, this product's for you." Or if you had candida, "Oh, we have an antifungal over here." Or, and they knew about health. You can't do that anymore. Because it's so shunned on, and there's too much liability. You can't advise people anymore. But back in the day, so I started out with a natural food store. I had organic produce, organic meats, all the supplements, doctors surrounding the store, and that's where I got health providers, naturopaths, and that's kind of where I got my teeth sharpened, was there. And prior to that, I had started and been partners in a company that was making trash compactors for airplanes. So through that process, FAA approvals and getting
Mm.
air quality for trash compactors for airplanes kind of gave me that lesson, and I ended up doing the financial records there, and then left there and started what was a natural products company. And so I started making, and so I was in this natural space for 2 years in retail, and then I decided retail wasn't for me. And so you can tell at that time, you could go into a retail store or a vitamin store, and there was people there that really knew, what natural medicine was all about, and they would help you find the right things, and there was a lot more choices. And I think that's the biggest difference you'll see today from back in the day then, where, I remember. And so moving forward, I started making individual herbs and encapsulating them. So I started doing kava kava, echinacea, St. John's wort, just the individual herbs. And then I ended up getting an order from Trader Joe's, and this was like '98. And so all of a sudden, it was like having Michael Jordan on my team. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm done with retail. I'm going to start manufacturing. So I started manufacturing. And I think this is about '97, '96. I started manufacturing. And then I got a call at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was sitting at the desk 5 in the morning, and a guy calls me and he says, "Hi, this is Shandor Tarani, and I'm calling from Budapest." He says, "Do you have olive leaf extract?" I said, "Yes, I have olive leaf extract." He says, "Okay, I'd like to buy, several thousand bottles." And then I started doing international sales. And at that point, I really started focusing on the manufacturing. Went from a 5,000 square foot manufacturing facility to a 20,000 square foot manufacturing facility. By 2010, by 2005, I had 185,000 square feet of
Mm.
manufacturing, 300 and some employees, shipping product all over the world. How the industry changed was I was a keynote speaker in 2013. So you can kind of take these, the 15 years up to that point, and a keynote speaker for the FDA forum in Colorado Springs in 2013. And I asked the head of the FDA from Washington, D.C., I said, "Hey, how many manufacturers in the dietary supplement space were there, the natural space, were there in 2004, 2005? He says, "Oh, I don't know, 2,500, 2,600.
Mm.
I said, "How many are there today?" He goes, "Oh, around 250. Now I think there's less than 200. I'm pretty sure there's less than 200. So if it's changed because you just don't have the same amount of choices.
Mhm.
It's following the German pharmacopoeia, where the maximum amount of St. John's wort you can have, I believe, per dose is 15 milligrams. Echinacea is 25 milligrams. You can't sell 500 milligrams of echinacea in the EU. You can still sell it here, but there's a lot less choices than there used to be because the regulations have kicked in. The regulations kicked in 2000, about 1999, 2000, where the FDA was really all over dietary supplements because the news was all about dietary supplements were made in the garage and in the bathtub, and it wasn't regulated, and you didn't know what you were getting, and greens powders were somebody shaved, mowed their yard and put it in a
Mhm.
bottle, and this is the sort of thing that came out. So the natural products industry kind of built GMPs for it and said, "Hey, we want to get out of this stigma. We want to be, we want to be qualified. We want to be quantified. We want people to believe that we have efficacy in our products." And so created GMPs, good manufacturing practices, were a result of that. And the FDA is kind of like, "Yeah, cool, regulate yourself, make it real difficult on yourselves because now, you're going to have a lot less choices and you're going to have a lot less people that are going to qualify, and people are going to fall out."
Mm.
And so we're GMP'd here. And I've been GMP'd for many, many years. And I believe it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it did change the industry in that there's less regulation. I mean, there's less choices and more regulation. And what really kicked that off was that. And then the other thing that really kind of hit was when there was a pitcher, and it was the turn of the century. There was a pitcher in Florida that took a bunch of ephedra. Now, at the time in the natural products industry, we were using ma wong, which is the main
Mhm.
ingredient of ephedra. The active constituent in ma wong is ephedrine, right?
Mhm.
And so we were using that as a decongestant. It was a really, really great decongestant, and we would use it, effectively for people. And it's really the best one. But this guy decides that he wants a lot of energy, he wants to pitch better. So instead of taking the 2 caps on the label says do not exceed 2 caps, I believe he took 8, maybe
Mm.
10. He had a heart attack and died.
Mm.
So now we can't sell ephedrine, we can't buy Ma Wong. We can't even use it as a decongestant. It's been completely shut down by pharmaceutical now owns the ephedrine market.
Yeah.
These are the sort of things that have happened,
Mhm.
but it's really always about misuse more than anything. And that's
Alo-
really changed a lot.
Along those lines, how has because we know that well, we'll get into the pharma thing in a minute, but my
Yeah.
question would be, how is manufacturing integrity? How has it in formulation science evolved since, let's say, the 2000? Because I know that there's downward pressure being brought on by pharma, or there was for a while there. And I have to believe that there were some rules written into into the entire process. It made it a little bit more difficult to make claims. I had been in the business, by the way, direct response industry, selling prostate medicine and rectal colon cleanse and all that good stuff. So I knew that there were, if you said one wrong thing, your house could be taken. Tell me about that. Tell me about the integrity and formulation science. How has it changed?
So, back in 1994, 93, DSHEA was passed, which is a Dietary Supplement Act.
Hmm.
At that point, they said all of these things that were Eastern medicine or what we were using in the natural space were now allowed to sell as dietary supplements, and we could talk about them, but we couldn't make claims. So you can't make claims on product, and it's been like this since then,
Yeah.
unless you have an OTC marker. So, for instance, a good example of this is a 4% camphor and a 4% menthol. If you have a 4% camphor and a 4% menthol in a topical cream, you can and you have it third party tested, you have it tested for the levels of those two active ingredients, and then you can put on your label for pain relief, inflammation. You have to get an NDA number, which is a new drug application number that you list on there, and you get that from the FDA. The FDA mandates that you can use this formula as a monograph to make the claim for pain. Now, you could make a 4 and 4, a 4 menthol, a 4 camphor, and don't put pain on it and still sell it. You could sell it all day. But if you want to make the claim, you have to file it with the FDA on an NDA number. You can then make the claim, and you have to make sure that you've tested for stability. So if you put that on there and you put an EXP for 2 years, you have to make sure that it has 4% and 4% for 2 years. If it doesn't, then you can't make that claim that has an EXP for 2 years. So there's a lot of answers to that question, but it's always kind of been that way. It's just that they never really cracked down on it. They've really started to crack down on it in the 2000s, and then they got more and more involved. And I really believe in my heart that it was because people were getting better. And they just
Mhm.
don't want people to get better. They want to control how they diagnose and symptom regulate people for their health. And I think somebody told me I think it was a doctor told me that the average amount of people on pharmaceutical drugs is nine. Nine. If you're on pharmaceutical drugs and you're an elder person, you're taking nine on average.
Hmm.
Well, does that make sense? If they really worked, you shouldn't have to take any. If you're an elderly person, at some point, you should be better, not stacking more and more and more and more. So it's just a revolving door. I'm not here to throw shade on the FDA. I'm not here to throw shade on the pharmaceutical industry. If I break my leg, I want a doctor.
Yeah.
I want to go to the hospital.
Right.
I want them to help me. So there are
But
certain instances where you got to have them.
you do.
But I don't think we need to do this for a head cold. I don't think we need to do this for allergy. There's cures for diabetes. There's cures for you can lose weight. I mean, there's lots of things that we can do naturally that really work, and there's things that we can do that are free, like drink the right amount of water.
Hmm.
Right? We now know how to hydrate. 1 ounce of water for 2 pounds of body weight. Just that in itself, and you're adding this hydration, the proper hydration to your body, you're going to raise the pH, and pH is a big deal. The pH neutral is 7, that's water. From 7 to 0 is an acid. From 7 to 14 is alkalinity.
Hmm.
All the studies show that diseases do not live in alkalinity. They die. They live in an acid environment. They thrive in an acid environment. Our skin is a 5.5 optimum pH. The biggest organ in our body is our skin. We're 80% water. So why are we constantly consuming pHs of a 2.5 to 3?
Soda pop, alcohol.
Right, soda pop,
Yeah.
alcohol, just about every drink that you drink. is a maximum of 3.5.
Well, let me ask you a question then in regards to saturating yourself with alkalinity, and that would be drinking water. They have the water out there that's 9.2 pH alcohol. Do we need that, or could we just drink regular? I'm not going to say tap water because I don't drink tap water, but is that the same as just drinking regular water because your body's going to balance it out, or does that actually help increase your alkalinity?
No, it's going to help increase your alkalinity just by consuming the proper amount of water. It's not, you're changing the organ pH in your body, which is going to change the environment for which your body is in.
Mhm.
There's Rob Young said this a long, long time ago. I picked up on it. I kind of built on this. Dr. Young, who's in prison because he they threw him in prison. Anyway, I made Rob's products since the early '90s and love the guy. But one of the things was if you're in Western medicine and a fish is sick in a fish bowl, you're going to take the fish out of the fish bowl and you're going to cut it open. You're going to diagnose it. You're going to check,
Mhm.
and symptom. Eastern medicine, you're going to leave the fish in the fish bowl. You're going to change the water. You're changing the environment for which the fish lives. The fish is going to get healthy again. It's the dirty water that's creating the problem for the fish. You keep the fish water clean, the fish is going to be a healthier fish. And that's kind of the whole concept about drinking proper amount of water. And the thing is it's free. Just get a purification system in your house, and all of a sudden now you're changing the environment for which your body is living. I always tell people all the time, I lecture all over the world, if you don't know why you're taking my product, I don't want you to spend the money. I don't want you to buy my product unless you know exactly what you're taking it for, why you're taking it, what it's for, what you're trying to accomplish. I think when people in Western medicine has kind of created this with your doctor, they're the expert. You go to them, they tell you what to do, you follow them, you do what they say. Well, I believe that you should listen to your body more and be in control of it instead of letting somebody else be in control of it.
Yeah,
Less is more. If you don't understand why you're taking something, don't take it.
it's
Find
easy.
out what the alternatives are, because the alternatives, even though they may cost you because you're not going to get insurance coverage, the downside of the insurance coverage is costing you more in your life and your quality of life than the money you're going to spend to buy something that's healthy that will actually not create bad effects.
Yeah. Well, there's so much discourse online about supplementation
Yeah.
and health products and such. From your vantage point, how has Big Pharma influenced or attempted to influence the public perception of supplements and alternative health?
I don't know if it's big pharma or if it's just competitive people. I think big pharma has something to do with it because I mean they own some of the major supplement companies out there now.
Many people don't know that. It's
They
true.
do. They own
Yeah.
all the ones that are in grocery. They bought them all.
Yeah.
And these products are. I don't throw shade on anyone, but I'm going to tell you there's better quality products than the ones you're finding in your grocery store
Hmm.
or at CVS or at Walmart. There's better quality product out there. Sure, there might be a select few on the shelf there that are good, but for the most part, it's just it's not very good. The quality of the product is not very good.
You know,
So
yeah, go ahead.
so that's what's affected it. But
Hmm.
also in the space of the dietary space, instead of us working together and we all have a place in the toolbox because we all have tools that can help, we're trying to downgrade these tools to make ourselves feel better, to make our product better, which makes it very, very difficult for the public to decide. So I'm not throwing shade on anybody, but I can tell you my products are the best products in the world.
Hmm.
I know it. They work every time, but I'm not here to try to go, well, mine's better than this guy or better than this guy. They're better than this guy. I'm just saying mine are really, really good and they will get the effects that you want if you take them at the right time and the right dosing.
And we're going to get into that in 1 minute, but just to kind of wrap this one up, do you think that there are some structural incentives in healthcare that favor treatment over prevention? And is that just because of corporate medicine
Absolutely.
and profit, period?
It's a dollar game.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's an economy. I mean, I think last time I heard Western medicine was 20 or 25% of our GDP. You know, take that away. It's kind of funny, Kelly. You know, all this fraud that's going, they're capturing all this fraud and they're stopping all the fraud.
Hmm.
What's happening with our GDP when you have $200 billion that was fraud going into our economy, going into our GDP, like in California? Take that out. What happens to the economy? What happens to the DI of people now? That money's no longer flowing to the economy,
Hmm.
right? That's going to make an impact. And I think we're starting to feel it already, but it needs to happen. It's
Hmm.
like, it's like you get a flat tire, okay, and then you go, well, I don't want to replace the tire, even though the steel radial of the tire is now showing. No, I'll just patch the tire. A week later, you got another flat tire. Oh, I'm just gonna. Eventually, you got to get rid of that tire and get a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what's happening. The change is happening, and it's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's a hard one, but we've got to go through this pain.
Cleansing, right?
You're cleansing, baby. It's cathartic.
Hey, well, before we get into peptides, which is really interesting, and then some of
Yeah.
your amazing formulations, I'm going to
Mhm.
say they're amazing. I've been interested in this industry ever since I was 16. I go back to the days of Merv Griffin's show with Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw, talking about life extension. Actually, he had the book Life Extension. Andrew
Wow.
Weil, you and I have discussed that. Some of the superstars of the face of the industry way back in the day. But I want you to touch on the current popularity of some of these items that are out there. I'm engaged in the consumption of all of them, and that would be the methylene blues, the nicotinamides, and there's probably some other ones that I haven't gotten excited about yet, but what those may be, you should probably know. So, what's your take on what's going on now? How are things looking at the horizon for you? And then we'll get into your stuff.
Well, I think we're on breakthroughs, and it's funny, because nothing's really a breakthrough, right? Everything
Mhm.
has already been here. It's been created by God and has been available from God from the beginning. So, if you want to talk about peptides specifically, I need to go back to when we went to see what the Aborigines were doing back in the 40s, early 40s. And we found out that they would kill an animal in the tribe and they'd take that organ from that animal and they'd give it to the person in the tribe that had that sickness. So if somebody was having a heart problem, they'd give them the heart from the animal. If they had a liver problem, they'd give them the liver, and then those people would get better. And that started glandular therapy. And so we started doing glandular therapy way back when, whether it be thyroid, adrenal, heart, liver, and the body would accept that. Well, guess what? In that glandular is those peptides. So peptide therapy's been around a long time. Then Kestenov, the Russian scientist, discovered the actual amino chain. So what peptides are is amino chain, a chain of aminos that replicate that peptide that's in the natural organ in your body,
Hmm.
and he was able to isolate those. So then we started extracting those out of the natural organ. So the real important one is the pineal gland. I think the pineal gland is a very, very, and there's a peptide for the pineal gland, and it's called indolutin. Indolutin is a pineal peptide, and it's very, very powerful, but it's been isolated now to where we just take that peptide. Now, I have pineal glandular here. I have brain glandular here. I have cerebral cortex, but I also have the peptide. So the peptide just takes it down to another level. And what these peptides do is they're messengers. They open the pathway for messages to get through to a targeted area. So they'll be very, very targeted. My favorite peptide is MOTC. MOTC is the RNA peptide from the mitochondria. It's actually uh, um, built from our RNA in the our DNA, RDNA in our mitochondria.
Hmm.
And This is directly relates to longevity and elongation of telomeres. Now, we can't measure telomeres. So anybody that says, "Oh yeah, the telomeres are getting longer," we know from the increase of NAD in the blood, NADH, which is the hydrogen molecule, which is what I use because it's got that extra molecule. It gets more absorption. We know that these peptides will actually increase the amount of NADH in your blood, NAD in your blood. We can measure that. We can't measure the telomere, but the telomere would be directly related to it.
How would
So
that be
we,
related to it? Would it be, tell me a little bit about the telomeres, because my take on it is that they last longer or the cell lives longer. What's the science behind that?
so if you look at hormones and you look at all of our glands, including these peptides, as we get older, we get less of them. That includes
Mm,
NAD.
hmm.
NAD is by the time we're 50, I think we're only producing 50% of what we had before. Same thing with human growth hormone out of the pituitary gland. This is a very, very important hormone. By the time we have the maximum amount of production of our HGH in our pituitary gland in our 20s, 20 in men and 21 or 22 in women. By the time you're 70, you're only producing about 20%. This is a longevity hormone. Okay, so if this is the case, they say that our telomeres are the longest when we're actively young and we have all of our hormones are maximized, all of our peptides are maximized, our organizer pep. And then as we decrease all of these essential elements in our body, all these essential chemicals in our body, what's going to happen? Your telomeres are going to get shorter. It's only a matter for that from oxidative stress. And this is created from oxidative stress. So, how do you reverse the oxidative stress? With NAD, with human growth hormone, with MOTC, so BBC 157 is a gut peptide. It's generated from digestive tract. KPV is the immune system peptide, an awesome peptide that Kent Holdorf talks a lot about. There's these experts out there that they're fantastic, and you can look them up, and they can Jay Campbell. These guys know a lot about peptides, and listening to them, you can get a lot of knowledge.
Well,
So,
yeah, go
but
ahead.
there's very specific peptides for each of these organs, but the telomere is about hormones and about mitochondria, right? Because it's attached to mitochondria. So as you're getting older, we know you're getting oxidative stress. You can just see it. You get wrinkles, you less testosterone, less hormone, less melatonin, less dopamine. I mean, everything is related to these hormones that are secreted by these glands.
Hmm.
These glands are all built on peptides. So what does that tell you? We don't necessarily have to measure it to know that our telomeres are getting shorter just by the action that our body has. Wrinkles. We just, mental clarity is a big deal. We know that we're damaging our mitochondria, which is directly affecting those telomeres. We want to elongate them. How do you do it? Increase the NADH in your blood. That you can do with M&M. M&M is awesome. It's a B3 with an extra beta molecule on it. It's niacinamide with an extra beta molecule on it. This is shown in studies to put NAD in the blood at like 17% more in a week if you're
Hmm.
taking the right amount of M&M. Well, what does that mean? That means that you're going to have repair of your on a cellular level systemically. What does that mean then? You have to say there's no other choice but the telomeres to get healthier, get longer again. How much are they getting longer? We don't know. How long is it going to take? We don't know. Nobody can do it because we can't measure it. We still don't have the mechanism to do it, but we know that's happening.
Yeah. I take nicotinamide as a matter of fact, and I feel like it's been beneficial from an energy level and to some extent from just looking in the mirror in the morning. But
Yes.
the only issue though sometimes is you don't know exactly who to trust. You look at TikTok and you scroll and you see a bunch of people in the affiliate space pushing nicotinamide and methylene blue. What separates clinical? I would we could call it clinically meaningful peptide science from hype.
The people running it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I always say this business has no conscience, only people do.
Mm.
So if you look at a bottle, that's a business. That's a bottle. It's made to make money. That bottle doesn't have a conscience. It's the people who made the stuff that goes in the bottle that have a conscience. And there's not that many that do. It's all about the money. It's not about if it's about the money, then quality usually takes a back seat. Quality has to be first. It has to be, and it's the person running the ship that's really going to matter. Somebody said to me the other day, why are network marketing companies, not doing well anymore? Well, okay, COVID had a lot to do with that. People don't meet anymore. The meeting thing kind of stopped. We couldn't gather in our homes. We couldn't. So network marketing took a huge hit. Network marketing is a great way to educate people on natural health and to get the word out there. It's the one only mechanism you really have to actually talk about these beautiful creations that God gave us to make our lives better. That forum for which we had is pretty much dried up. But I think the biggest reason was the owners of network marketing companies were unscrupulous. You
Mhm.
know, the Mark Hugheses who really cared, who sold it out of the trunk of their car, those guys are gone. They're not around anymore. Now it's about big business. It's about making money. It's about breakage on the downlines. The quality of the product, whatever, right? But it's all about, oh gosh, how can we sell this message, and how much can we do to make people want to be a part of our program, instead of let the product do the talking, and let the product, and don't worry about price, and it's all about quality. And so that's really the difference.
I think about that. You're right. We had COVID and we couldn't really, meet in our homes. But you know
Mhm.
what? In some regards, it really helped because it proliferated doubt in the mind of the consumer. Listening to Fauci talk about how COVID was, they had a grip on it. They knew exactly what it was. You need to take the shot. It's going to work. I've never taken shots. I've never given my kids shots. I refused to do that. I knew it was
Me too.
poison from the word go. But
That's
what
right.
it did was then we started listening to other people who said, wait a minute, that's not the case. I am a clinician. I worked on the science behind that. I worked on the vaccine, and it's not what it says. So to some extent, it amplified the voice of the alternative health advocate. And that leads us into this peptide thing. And I want to get into that because now I'm beginning to see doctors bellying up to the bar, so to speak, because they're seeing results. They can treat their patients on a regular basis, put them on a continuity program, get results. And I think it's fascinating. And I'm just really glad I met you because I see the light in a big way. It's not like I haven't been on the outskirts of the supplement world for the last 40 years as well. Long time. I think we're probably in the same ballpark when it comes to our musical taste, which probably puts us in right around the same decade of birth and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, how do you see peptide? Now we're getting into the fun stuff. Let's talk
Yeah.
about you and what's going on now because this is so exciting. And oh, by the way, let me go back real quick. You mentioned that they went and they saw that the tribes were taking the organs out and using it to treat those people who had issues with the same organ. They were taking it orally, and it seems to have been bio absorbed orally,
Bioavailable, absolutely.
bioavailable, right? So
Absolutely, it's bioavailable
that's
and
another.
oral. So
Let's
we
talk
can
about
talk
that.
about, you want to
Shots
talk
versus
about,
first
okay.
shots versus taking orally because that really that puts everything on in the spotlight, and that's what
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm a big advocate of oral peptides. I'm not a big advocate of injectables, but
Hmm.
I'm not a big advocate of injectables, period. I don't like needles. I don't like sticking myself. I think that it has to be dosed better. So it's been a little bit of a wild frontier with vials and people being able to pull their 5 cc's out with their needle and stick themselves, and then stacking, and one after another, or even taking it all and putting it in a drip. And
Hmm.
I think it's overburdening the body, and I think it puts a lot of fatigue on the organs, and so I don't think it's healthy. I think that microdosing of peptides is much healthier, and you'll see it over time, but you're not going to get that immediate impact that you would from injectable. So this is the thing, bioregulators. So if they're a bioregulator, indolutin, Vylon, citrulline, these are all the ones that are organ bioregulators. There are two, three, four amino acids in their chain. They're a very short chain of amino acids. Those are going to get through the gut with a sustained relief, or a capsule, a delayed release capsule. They will
Enteric
get through the gut
coating.
and get into the small intestine,
Hmm.
just like your food does.
Hmm.
Same thing. I mean, you're eating food; it's getting through. The nutriments of what you need, and your body's going to absorb them. Same thing has happened with the short chain. Okay, BBC 157 is 16 aminos in its chain. TB4 frag is 18. KPV is 15. These are, to me, these are still short. HGH is 191. That's a long chain. Semaglutide is 44. Tirzepatide is 38, but can be 42, depending on what C of A you're looking at. These are too long, and they do break up. So the chain has to stay in uh, connected, and get through your gut and get in your small intestine so you can absorb it. They When they're small, they're getting through. The longer they are, the more susceptible they are to damage in the gut, where they break apart. Now they're no longer that peptide. You're getting those aminos, but you're not getting the amino locked together in the chain that replicates the organ for which you're trying to do it. So the messenger chain is now broken. It's no longer going to drive the efficacy that you want. But anything above 30, I believe, is going through, and that includes TA1, which is thymogen alpha 1. That is 28, and I believe thymogen is working. GHKCU, that copper peptide, is amazing for inflammation, for periodontal disease, for so many things. Copper peptide, hair growth. I mean, this thing is getting through, and we're seeing dramatic results, even for pain, on a 4% copper peptide cream. Topically, toothache. I mean, the pain of the toothache goes much further down. You combine that with BBC and KPV and TB4, and you're seeing tremendous results. So we know these peptides are working. People are seeing results from them, so they're not breaking down in the gut.
So,
Um,
yeah, I was going to say
yeah,
it's almost like homeopathy. You're taking these little
yeah,
micro doses, but it
yeah.
still has the positive and the same as desired
Correct.
effect.
Correct. Absolutely. That's a very, very good analogy. Homeopathy, if anybody's wondering, is basically a, a very, very low dose of the disease. You're putting it into your body to build up immunities. So your body then has immunities built up, so that disease then has something to fight it. That's what homeopathy is. It's always been that way. And that's the reason why, when they started saying, oh, no, you need to take a vaccination for a disease. Well, hold on a second. What about your body's natural ability to build antibodies to it? You're actually stopping your body from building the antibodies. And this is medicine that goes way back, that people have been using for decades. And yet now all of a sudden, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. Well, hold on a second.
Yes.
Slow down the pony ride here, because I'm not buying it. Microdosing does work. It has worked. It continues to work. And I think that by overdosing with injections, you're actually burdening your body, you're stressing your organs, and you're creating havoc.
Mm. It's interesting that you say that because I have a friend of mine who I actually would like to have you have a conversation with. That we discussed that as well. His daughter is training for a half marathon and she takes them regularly. She says that I'm not sure which peptide she's taking, but she says she's like a super person in the gym, which is really interesting. She says, but she's got little red bumps that are rising up in the injection locations. And there's some concern because of it. When you've got red dots that are taking their good old time to heal, I guess
So
that's
what is red dots on the skin?
well, it's in when they she takes a shot at the shot of the injection.
No, no, but traditionally,
Oh,
what would be
it's an inflammation response.
correct? And so
Yeah,
why,
inflammatory
why would you get an inflammation by taking a shot?
because it's not a good thing.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
toxicity. And so what's happening is your body is rejecting it.
Mm.
And usually, and so anytime you have a skin issue, it's the blood trying to eliminate something that the blood doesn't want. That's anytime you have a skin ailment, it's generally related to a blood problem and usually blood toxicity, where the blood is dirty and the blood is trying to eliminate, whether it be fungus from overgrowth of candida and fungus.
Mhm.
There's five disease states, Kelly. They are, and a lot of people don't know that there's five disease states. They are bacteria and viruses. Okay, we get those. Then there's fungus. And Western medicine really never even recognized fungus. And New England Journal of Medicine finally said, oh, yeah, the blood might be eliminating, and you might be actually, this is very recent that they finally said, oh, maybe there is a toxicity issue. That's the fourth disease. The fifth one is parasites.
Yeah, it's gonna get into that.
Okay, parasites
Parasites.
are a
Yeah.
disease, right? But yet they're full ignored. But they're just as important as bacteria. They're
Yeah.
just as important as virus. They're just as important as fungus. Toxicity is just as important, if not more important, because we're being diluted with environmental toxins from microplasts to heavy metals. And our bodies weren't designed to eliminate those at the rate that we're putting it into our body. And we're even putting more in by putting in injections that we don't even know what that injection is being carried by. What? Okay, you're getting a BBC injection. Okay, I get it. What is the carrier?
Yeah. Good
What's
question.
in that carrier? Have you tested that? Why is it that you have little bumps on your body if you're just taking BBC 157? It's got to be something else that's
Yeah.
creating that problem, right? If you take oral BBC 157, you're not going to have little dots on your skin.
And then who's doing the QC on it? It's you say, well, they get tested by, yeah, but who's testing it? We have a big problem with mid-level management here in the United States, and I think that inspectors and guys like they fall into that category. If it's being done here, I mean, I'd really have to see. It would be hard for me to do an injectable to begin with. And I think that for every one person out there that's shooting up peptides, I believe there's probably 250 to 300 who would jump on the oral format.
Absolutely. If they believe that it is going to get through the gut and it's going to pass into the system, and they're going to absorb it. And I can promise you that they are. And I've seen such great results. We sell only to doctors, and I'm not here to pitch my product. I'm here to talk to you about how to make people feel better and get better. Whether they buy my product or somebody else's product is irrelevant to me, as long as they're taking the right product at the right time and they know why they're taking it.
Yeah.
We're just here to try to help people, right? And so, it just so happens I made product for my family, and I've always made product for my family so that my family would have good product to take. And that includes me, because I want product for me so I can live a long life and a healthy life. So it was very important for me. And, I still batch. I still make batches all the time, and make sure that those products are right. I'm out there when the guys are mixing the products together to ensure that the percentages are right, that the product is right, that the ingredients that are going in there are right. Now, we are OTC licensed. We are GMP certified. We are FDA registered at the highest levels of the certifications you can get. And so I believe that by doing that, we are making the best products possible. But it's all about the human aspect of this that is the most critical aspect of all of it. You can go ahead and write all the papers you want. You can go ahead and put all the regulations in that you want, but it's all about humans.
Making people feel better. You
And
know,
but
that's,
also
yeah,
humans making the product to the best that it can be.
yeah,
Yeah, nobody's going to do that,
as
right?
safe and effective as possible.
Exactly. It's critical. That's the most critical part of all of this. You can put all the directions in, all the protocols, all the SOPs, the standard operating procedures. You can have all the regulation you want, but it's all about the people.
Yeah. And if they're loving it, they're loving it. You know,
If they're
I'm
loving
big
it and
on
they're passionate about it.
big
Yeah,
on anecdotal evidence.
absolutely. Me
Very
too.
big.
Me
Hey,
too. And yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about is anecdotal evidence. I mean, it was funny. I had a doctor in my office. She was a UCLA PhD, and she said she'd done over 100 studies, Kelly. And that she and I said, "Were you paid to do all these studies?" She goes, "Oh yeah, I was paid to do these studies." And I'm like, "Oh okay." And were they published? She goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "So how many of these studies were you actually given what the answer was supposed to be?" She goes, "Well, we always kind of know where we're going." I said, "Yeah, so you're already pre-programmed to give the results that you want because you're being paid to give that result, correct?" Yeah. I said, "So how many of those studies are actually legitimate studies that went outside the box of what the box that you had been given to be in?" She started to cry.
interesting.
Yeah. And I thought that was very interesting because she knew, I guess maybe she knew she was in the lion's den. I don't know, but I don't buy it. I don't. It's all about anecdotal for me. If it's working for somebody, it's
Yeah.
working. Now, I'm not saying every product is going to work for every person because we don't know what's happening. Uh, uh, on a physiological basis with every individual because we're all different, right? So there's that little, you hit that one switch that makes all the difference in the world. It's finding that switch. And I believe you need all the tools in the toolbox to do that: botanicals, nutraceuticals, um, peptides, exosomes, stem cells. I mean, all of them should be available in our toolbox to give people the choices to to flip that switch. And
Yeah.
when you flip it, you know it.
The fact that pharma is self-regulating and they do their own tests and they're trusted to not lie to us. I mean, we've seen it with hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine and ivermectin. The
Yeah,
anecdotal evidence was overwhelming. And
yeah.
hand to God, it worked for me. Hey, this is the part of the podcast that I like the most, and this is where we
Okay.
get to spotlight the. This is our first podcast for this particular show, but I'm very excited about it because we get to spotlight the product line and some of your hero products. And first of all, you have a huge product line. I've seen it. You focus on longevity prevention and promotion of healthy states. I think we could say that, right? So
Yeah.
I think you have a few at hand. You might not have the product in hand, but you're going to tell us about each one individually. And then what I wanted to do, and this is not on script, is to just mention maybe 6 or 7 or 8 different health conditions, and then what you would take for yourself if you have these conditions to make yourself feel good. So,
Wow, that's
yeah,
great, Kelly. I didn't know we were going there, so let's do it.
it was word association. But let's talk about, do we want to do this first, or do we want to have you say, okay, these are the items that I'm really hot on. These are my last 8. Or let's go. You give me the list, then I'm gonna rock your world with this word association.
It's easier for me to do this when I'm asked the question than
Gotcha.
it is for me
Okay.
to try to promote things just off the hip because
Okay.
I mean, I can talk about, if you want to talk about longevity, then I believe it's about getting to the cellular level on the mitochondria. And the product that I really love to do that is our product called AA, which stands for anti-aging. AA Guard is an anti-aging mitochondrial repair formula, And it helps increase cellular rejuvenation, decreases oxidative stress, they're powerful antioxidants with peptides and nutraceuticals in it. And it has MOTC peptide. MOTC is a mitochondria peptide. It's a significant role in cellular signaling and energy production. It decreases insulin resistance. It restores homeostasis, has a direct impact on athletic performance by increasing mitochondrial biogenesis. MOTC reduces oxidative stress by scavenging radioactive oxygen species, ROS, which combats oxidative stress in the mitochondria. It is my favorite peptide. It also includes MNN, which is the B3 vitamin that increases NAD in the blood. And we all know NAD decreases as we age. And the decrease of NAD is responsible for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, type 2 diabetes, muscular apathy, and poor cardiovascular health. It includes AKG, which is alpha ketoglutarate. This helps repair muscle, improves healthy mitochondria, enhances brain health, and cognitive responses, and improves immunity. It also has ATP, which is andesine triphosphate.
Mm-hmm.
Andesine triphosphate is found in every cell in the body, and it improves energy levels. Andesine also increases athletic performance and stamina. All of these things we want so that we can live longer and live a healthier life. AA includes indolutin, the bioregulator that is directly isolated from the pineal gland. In young animals, the first peptide bioregulator available in the marketplace, indolutin has broad beneficial potential for normalizing pineal metabolism and melatonin secretion, as well as regulating hormonal metabolism. I can't say enough about indolutin for the endocrine health and for cardiovascular health. It also is very important for brain function. It increases mitochondrial volume and function within the cell, as well as blocking zombie cells, which are sentient cells. Which this is interesting. When I'm done with AA, I'll talk about the difference between free radicals and senescent cells, which are the zombie cells. This product also has pregnenolone, which improves brain function, cognitive responses, immune response. Pregnenolone's associated with decreasing anxiety and helping with depression. It is a natural hormone that helps control emotions and reduce negative emotional responses. These are all very, very important for balancing out our life so that our cells can be healthy and our mental acuity can be healthy. It has CoQ10, which we know is a awesome antioxidant. CoQ10 is found in every cell in our body. It helps regulate energy production, which ATP from the cellular level. It decreases high blood pressure, helps with cardio, angina, immune depression, periodontal disease, lack of energy, weight gain. It's overall good health. The product also has alpha-lipoic acid. Now, alpha-lipoic acid is the top antioxidant on the pyramid of all antioxidants, above everything else, from acai, standardized extract, and mangosteen, and pomegranate, and CoQ10, and vitamin A, and beta carotene. It's the premium antioxidant to decrease free radicals. And so it's very, very important. It helps the production of all of the natural production of the non-essential amino acids, glutathione. It's a master antioxidant. So much better than vitamin C and vitamin E, although it does activate them when you take them. This product also contains L-glutathione. L-glutathione helps with fat metabolism and metabolism in general. So really helping with thyroid and heat energy and getting your circulatory system going. It's extremely important for your circulatory system to go if you want to have good systemic cellular health. This also includes getting more oxygen in your body. If you listen to Dan Metcalf, he talks about the 7 pillars of health. His first one is oxygen. His second one is hydration. Interesting part of this, oxygen and water, if you just have a purification system, they're both free. And he says these are the pillars of our health: sleep, then nutrition, then it goes on. But so, and then L-theanine, which it really helps with PTSD, relieving stress and mental fatigue. It is a nootropic. So these are the ingredients in AA. It's very, very powerful, and you really do feel a difference from inflammatory conditions on a cellular level and rebuilding your cellular health. This also has hyaluronic acid, which increases oxygen into the cells.
It's a superhero.
So it is a super formula, and
It really is.
the doctors are buying this and prescribing it to their patients. Naturopaths, med spas. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. People that are using this product and finding tremendous results. Now, it's not going to be an immediate impact, but you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to go, wow, my skin looks healthier. I just feel better. My eyesight gets better. I mean, there's so many things that happen when you work on repairing your cellular health and your mitochondria. And this is what this formula is doing.
And look, at sometimes just taking these supplements actually triggers something in your body to work alongside with them. You could call it a placebo effect or whatever. It's well beyond that. It's just, once you have the confidence, your body has the confidence, and it might not even be a conscious thing. When I was taking glucosamine sulfate and chondroitin, it took about 4 weeks for it to really kick in for me. This was a few years back, but I was willing to let it, and it did. It did what it needed to do.
So that's interesting. You brought up
Yeah,
glucosamine and chondroitin. So we
yeah.
have J-Guard, which has glucosamine and chondroitin in it. It
Hmm.
also has MSM and it has hyaluronic acid. But the key ingredient to that formula, it's a messenger. And you talked about messengers just a second ago.
Hmm.
Your body needs messengers to deliver these things directly to the place that they need to be delivered. And that's the most important part. And in J has something called CMO, cetyl myristoyl. Cetyl myristoyl is the driver of chondroitin and glucosamine. It will actually drive them to there. So you can talk about, oh, I want a vegan glucosamine, and I
Yeah.
want I want a pure silica and blah 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 blah. But if you're missing the drivers, the messengers, it doesn't matter how the quality of the product that you're taking is. It's not getting there. It's not driven to where you need it to be.
Makes sense. All right, let's do our word association. I just love doing this. Now
Can
you
I talk about sentient cells
go.
versus free radicals
You
and
were
healthy
going to
cells?
do that. Yes.
Can I
Sentient
do it?
cells versus free radicals. Go.
Okay. So there's zombie cells and sentient cells. These cells are healthy cells. They look healthy when you put them under a microscope, but they don't do anything with the nutrition, the hydration, the oxygen that you're giving it. They just take it. They're scavengers. They're not free radicals. Okay, the difference is a free radical is a dead cell. It's a damaged cell. It's an ill cell. It has a disease in it. It will take and then it'll replicate itself with other cells that are healthy cells, creating more damaged cells. That's how you get disease states in your body. You have to get rid of those free radicals because they're in there. They're not going away unless you kill them. You do it with antioxidants. With sentient cells, zombie cells, you do it with MNN. You do it with B3. It burns them. Now there's other mechanisms within it with that you can use that we use with quercetin is a really good one to get rid of sentient cells and burn them. But there's a big difference between the two, and people don't understand the difference between those two. And I think it's very important to understand that. Another thing that's really important to understand is the difference between omega 3s, omega 6s, and omega 9s.
Hmm.
These are the good fats. How do you get rid of the bad fats? You do it by putting the good fats in. People want, oh no, I don't want any fats. You're trying to decrease your fats. No, no, you want the good fats because the good fats are what's going to burn the bad fats. Without the good fats, the bad fats don't get burnt. And the most important was omega 9. You get it from borage, safflower, EPO, and what else? Safflower, EPO, safflower, and borage, and black currant seed. Black currant seed's a great omega 9. But taking the combination of a 9-6-3 is critically important for the good fat
The
metabolism.
combo.
Yes, the combo. But the most important one of all is omega 9. You're not getting it in your diet. You got to substitute. You got to supplement it. You're getting 3s, you're getting 6s, and I see people all the time. Oh, I'm taking my omega 3, I'm making my 6. Yeah, but where's the 9? Take the 9. You will decrease your weight. You will actually get hormonal balance by taking borage, by taking these 9s. Help out your endocrine system, help out your circulatory system, and decrease the amount of bad fats in your body.
Makes sense.
I have a
Okay.
product
Yeah.
called Ogard that has, and this is a Cadillac product. Take that with a statin, and your cholesterol will go down. I have a video of a guy who took my CL, which is my cholesterol. So CL Guard. This is another Cadillac product. CL with O. I have a lot of people that have done this. I had a guy who was his cholesterol was at 330, and he goes, they want me to take all this stuff. I said, Robert, just take CL and O, go back in 30 days. Went back in 30 days. It was down over 100 points. His bad cholesterol was horrible. By taking this, his good cholesterol went to perfect. And his overall cholesterol level went down 100 points in just over 90 days.
Unbelievable.
Correct.
Well, I know that statins were widely prescribed and that they've been largely discredited.
Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
So Lipitor is a statin. It's one of the biggest selling drugs out there, and it's for cholesterol. So what they did was they took red rice yeast, which is a normal, natural product, and to patent it, Lipitor has 13 chemicals wrapped around it, so they could patent it. It's not the statin that's causing the problem. It's the 13 chemicals that are wrapped around the red rice yeast that are causing the problem. And the reason why Lipitor is not working is because they don't have the good fats combined with it. It's all it is just a statin. So yes, it's helping, but it's not lowering cholesterol. It's not doing the job because it doesn't have the messenger.
Mm.
And then the bad
Yeah.
effects are created by the chemicals that are attached to it so they could patent it so they can sell it for an outrageous amount of money.
Yeah. They had me on that. Okay, now we're ready for word association, which I think
Okay,
is a lot of fun because when
sure.
someone is in a situation, they're in a certain health state and they're looking for a supplement, it would be a supplement or something to help them. It would always be good to say, boom, this is going to work, or this
Okay.
has the potential to work.
Yeah,
And that would be, let's just go with joint pain,
joint pain.
bad shoulder, knees,
Okay, so
elbow,
if you have shoulder pain, you want me to talk about product or you want to talk about ingredients?
product.
Product. Okay. So if you have joint pain, you're going to want to de-inflame. You de-inflame with peptides. I have an anti-inflammatory formula called AI for anti-inflammatory. It's BBC, KPV, TB4. That is an anti-inflammatory formula. It really, really works. You want to take that in addition to J. J-Guard builds the soft tissue, all the collagen in that area where you have the inflammation. So first thing you want to do is decrease the inflammation. The second thing is take J-Guard, which is going to do the repair, and you'll start to repair.
Fix and repair.
Fix and repair. Make sure you have the messenger. Now, if you have a lot of pain, then you want to include the copper peptide cream. It's a 4% copper peptide cream, and I've never seen anything that works better for pain. It's amazing. Rub it on your shoulder. It's amazing. The pain, it will go away. I've never seen
I'll let you
anything as
know.
good as copper peptide
Yeah.
for
High
pain.
blood pressure.
High blood pressure. I have a product called BP. Now, BP, I was in a doctor's office. I'm not going to say which doctor it was. It's a friend of mine, not as close as we were, but I was in his office. And he had a lady in his office, and she was white as a ghost. And her cholesterol was, or her blood pressure was 181 over 138. And she was sweating. And I was sitting there, and it's going up 182. I'm like, he's like, I think I need to call an ambulance, right? And I'm like, he goes, do you have your product here? I said, yeah, it's called BP Guard for blood pressure. He goes, okay, what do I do? I said, you give her a scoop, 4 gram scoop in 4 ounces of water. So the nurse takes a scoop, puts it in 4 ounces of water. And I left the room. He goes, hey, how long is this going to take? I go, 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, it was down to 132 over 78 in 10 minutes. And it works every single time.
How? What is the effective element
Well, the main ingredient is
combo?
potassium chloride. It's
Okay.
potassium chloride.
Okay.
Potassium is really what will help with blood pressure, but it's got quercetin.
Quercetin.
It's got, let me tell you what else is in there. Sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head.
So
So
that's okay.
thanks.
I edit so much of this. It's going to be so
You
seamless.
paused it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's got vitamin K and vitamin D, magnesium, malic acid, which is really important because that decreases the amount of lactic acid, which will help you de-inflame. It's got L-glycine, which is really important for blood pressure, olive leaf. And if you go on the internet and you look at blood pressure, the first thing that's going to come up is berberine sulfate. It's got berberine. It's also got the extract made from tomato called lycopene. And
Sure.
lycopene is very important for blood pressure. But vitamin K and potassium are really the two things doing the job in L-glycine. Berberine is important, but those are the things that are doing it.
Prostate enlargement.
This is going to kind of blow you away. So
Lycopene?
PSA, so I have a product called P-Guard for prostate. So I had a guy, his PSA was 18 and a half. And I said, well, you're having some problem at night, eh? He goes, yeah, I get burning urination. And I said, well, what you want to do is use progesterone cream on your inner thigh. So I make a bioidentical progesterone cream.
Mhm.
So you take a dime's amount on the inner thigh in the morning and then rotate to the other thigh at night. Take 3 P guards 2 times a day or 3 times a day, especially with a condition like this. He goes, okay. He called me 30 days later. He goes, I went to the doctor and the doctor couldn't believe it, but my PSA was down to 8. Dropped 10 points in a month. Progesterone. Need to have the hormone. And too much bad testosterone, too much acid. Now, the other thing is it's very, very important to change your lifestyle. The worst thing you can do for your prostate is drink coffee. Coffee, dairy, sugar, they're horrible for your prostate, and you have to cut them from your diet.
Even one coffee a day?
Cut it. I have a coffee alternative called Asian tea. It's a black tea. So when you do a cup of coffee, you get 25 milligrams, you get 100 milligrams of caffeine, but the acidity level is really low. If you do tea, and specifically black tea, and you brew it like you would coffee, you only end up with 25 milligrams of caffeine. Now, caffeine's very, very important as an anti-carcinogen. So caffeine's good for you. It's good for your body. It's good for energy, as long as you're taking it. But it's the acidic level of coffee that's bad. Black tea doesn't have that acid level. So that's a good coffee alternative, is drinking tea.
Heart issues, circulation, angina.
Circulation. I have a product called CF, and that actually improves your circulation. good for like numbing, for anemia, any type of poor circulation, but especially if you have uh, if you wake up at night and your limbs are asleep or they're numb,
Mm,
taxi drivers, bus drivers,
hmm
people who are sitting a lot, airline pilots, CF, you just take a drop and all of that symptom goes away. I also use bioregulators and Hawthorne in a product called CH Guard.
CH guard.
CH Guard.
That's got cayenne in it.
Well, it's got D and K,
Hmm
but it's got the heart bioregulator and the valve bioregulator, the aorta bioregulator. It's also got MOTC, the mitochondria bioregulator, so you're building the muscle, and it's got thymogen beta 4. Um, so all of these are very, very important. And thymogen beta 4 activates and is really the messenger here. And what thymogen beta is for muscle recovery and wound healing. Well, the heart is very, very important muscle in our body, and we need to improve the muscle. So we do that with thymogen beta 4. We also do it with cellular heart, which is the heart bioregulator, and then Ventafort being the vascular bioregulator. So helping with your valves, helping with your heart muscle, helping with your cellular level at a cellular level, and then increase in circulation with L-citrulline. So if you do that with hawthorn berries and citrulline, and then take CF, which has cayenne, ginkgo, and hawthorn in a
Mm.
liquid drop form.
Two more, and then we're free and easy. And I appreciate you spending this time with us here. And
Well, anytime,
this
Kelly.
is
I
critical.
appreciate you. I think you're a wonderful guy, and I think you're doing so much for people that I'll do this with you anytime you want. And I'm honored and I'm thrilled. And you know, Kelly, I want to tell you something. I have everything in my life, everything you could ever want, I have, and I don't need much, but I miss my little girls.
Mm.
I need my little girls. That's the only thing in my life I don't have. I have love. I have a really nice business. I make people healthy every day, so I have a lot of things to be proud of. But I miss my two little girls. So shout out to them,
Shout out to the little and their name.
Sienna and Vendela.
Oh, beautiful.
I
With
love
the
you.
Italian, that's
I love you,
unbelievable
Sienna.
names.
I love you, Vendela.
Ah,
Call me.
yeah, my boys are in Japan, so I can't even, so,
Oh,
but they're playing, one's playing pro ball and the other one's teaching a little Japanese English, and then he's getting his master's in psychology. But this is about you, not me. So here's two
oh
more.
no.
Two more.
Hey, look at I want to hear this because I just went to Japan. I love Japan. I love
Yeah,
the people. I just loved it. The energy there is off the hook.
it's
It's so
unbelievable.
clean and everybody's so nice and it's just so cognizant of the people around them.
Hmm
It's just a wonderful, wonderful
Yeah,
environment to be.
respectful,
Yes, yes.
respectful. I've got more
They
stories.
open the door for you and say thank you and excuse me and.
Being respectful to one another goes a long way. I'll give you a real quick story, then we'll get back
Right.
into our last two symptoms.
Sure.
And that would be my son lost his wallet and he was on the train in Osaka. He couldn't find, goes home, couldn't find the wallet, ends up going back to the train station, goes to the end of the route, and they had his wallet in the lost and found. There isn't a city in the United States of America where that wallet would have made it back to the rightful owner.
That's right.
Only
That's
in
right.
Japan.
Yeah.
And he said I wasn't going to panic. I was just going to go hoping that it was true, and it was. Okay, the last is so you
There
know.
are
Yeah.
there are people in the United States that
Mm,
would give that wallet back,
I
and
would.
I would, and I
Yeah.
truly believe that there are. So I don't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't want to generalize about it. We still have great people in this country
We
that
do.
care. We
We
do. We
do,
do.
damn it.
Yeah.
And there are some. I just, wish there were
I
more.
I
Right?
wish there were more too, like
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, Japan.
Okay.
Menopause sounds like a male malady, but it's not. It's really brutal. Menopause.
menopause is a tough one. It is. And I think women's body is a temple and is to be cherished. And menopause is specifically a women's disease. And I have a menopause cream. It's you use estrogen
Hmm.
for menopause. You use progesterone for PMS. So the menopause cream, when a woman is fully in menopause, then she no longer has a period, and um, and so she takes the cream every day. Now you want to try to regulate it the best you can, but they start taking it, and just a dime's amount on the thigh will work wonders for menopausal symptoms. But the other thing that's really, really good is borage oil.
Mm.
So borage oil will really deliver the estrogen well. You'll get better results by taking borage oil combo. And I have a borage oil combo that has other oils in it that activate the borage. But you take borage with the menopause cream, the estrogen cream, and works wonders. You get your life back.
Hmm.
If there's a lot of depression or anxiety, then X-Guard for anxiety and depression really, really works. It's got lithium in it, a lithium orotate, but it's also got all of the brain activators. And when we're talking about menopausal headaches, because that's a big deal, we have MH, which is for migraine headaches or menopausal headaches. 2 to 3 of those menopausal headaches go away, which is a major problem. It's debilitating for a lot of women, and they just don't know what to do. So these are really the key proponents for hormones. The other thing is I would be taking arnica spray in the
Mm.
mouth. That has KPV, copper peptide. It has TA1, BBC, and arnica, and it de-inflames, helps with oral health, helps with mental health, and that also will help tremendously to de-inflame and help metabolism because you want to keep the metabolism going.
Well, I do want to stay along those lines. I was going to throw out another symptom, but I think I want to go to PMS because that's just agonizing. My wife went through hell once, once a month. It was just brutal to her. And then one of my son's girlfriends went through absolutely after the COVID shot. It was off the charts. So maybe we could talk about that too.
So
But
PMS.
yeah.
So it's important that for PMS that a woman regulates her cycle. So you want to take a progesterone cream. You take it on day 14. So they have to measure
Mm.
their cycle. So their cycle starts when their period starts.
Hmm.
Then day 14 is when they ovulate. You want to take the progesterone until the period starts again. But you want to start on day 13 or day 14, and you have to measure it. So you
Mm.
have to measure, the day your period starts, then count 13 or 14 days, 13 or 14. Start on day 13 if you want, stay on day 14 if you want, but somewhere in there, and then stop when the period starts again, because that's when your period start. That's when your cycle starts again, is when your period starts. So,
Mhm.
um, and it may take a couple months. You may end up with where it stays out of balance. Now, the best doctor out there for hormones is Dr. Helen Pensanti. Ask Helen is Ask Helen .com, I believe. Helen Pensanti, look her up. She's fabulous. She's been doing it for 60 years. She's a medical director at multiple hospitals. She's an MD. I make her hormone creams, and I've been making them since 2000, bioidentical hormones. If you ever need any or have any information, um, or want any information on your hormones, all you women out there listening, look up Dr. Helen Pensanti, and Pensanti. She's a fabulous woman. She can help you with your hormones. But that's a quick shot. And then, of course, borage.
Forage.
Borage oil will help with hormones.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us.
Can I
And
can I just talk about a couple things that I
I
like?
yeah, my last comment was going to be What have we missed? What do you want to add? Go for it.
Okay, so I'm going
100%.
to tell
This
you what
is
I
you.
take every
I'll take
day
your
and what
time.
I believe in so much. So I take Motsi,
Hmm.
and I every day I take Motsi.
Hmm.
I take CE, which is cerebral lysin, which is the brain peptide, with NPEP12, which is the brain peptide pulled from porcine. And it's the natural version and the synthetic version. I take that, and CE has those two ingredients with NADH. So it's a very, very powerful formula. I also love methylene blue. I take methylene blue 3 or 4 times a week, but I really want it when I have to go into a meeting or I need full clarity. I want to be on spot, on point. I take methylene blue, and it's called MB. I take DHEA, and I
Oh, do
take
you?
200 milligrams of DHEA a day. And DHEA is the
Hmm.
mother load hormone. I've been
Hmm.
doing DHEA like that for 20 years at 200 milligrams a day. And my hormones are in balance. My testosterone levels are great. I take borage because it's a DHT blocker. So borage oil in men blocks bad testosterone. DHEA is a testosterone builder. If you're taking DHEA, it can convert into bad testosterone or it can convert into estrogen. So you take borage oil to block the conversion of DHEA to bad testosterone or to estrogen. So it's like an estrogen blocker. Um, I love the total body cleanse. The total body cleanse is, and I take it every 6 months. And what the total body cleanse does is it cleans all your organs of all the toxicity. And so it's got a bowel cleanser that eliminates parasites. So it moves your bowel and eliminates parasites. That's B guard. It has L guard, which is a liver cleanser. It has H guard, which is lymphatic and blood cleanser. And it has U guard, which is a urinary tract cleanser, cleanses your kidney, your urinary tract. So the reason I do this every 6 months is because it's like a car engine. You don't go your car and drive your car without changing the oil. That's very, very important. You can't drive your car if your tailpipe is clogged. Your engine will blow up. That's your large and small intestine is your tailpipe. Keep that tailpipe moving. Keep the toxicity, the bad food stuff, everything you've digested going into the toilet. It's extremely important. I believe our bodies are just a well-designed trash can. Can you imagine having a trash can in your kitchen for 30 years that hasn't been cleaned? What it's going to smell like, what it's going to look like? And we have so much stuff that we're putting in our bodies. Our body wasn't designed to eliminate. We got to help the body. So it's very, very important to take B guard. It increases your elimination. You get your elimination going, you start cleaning your liver. Your liver is your oil filter. Well, you don't change your oil in your car when you go get your oil change without changing your oil filter. So why would you go on a blood cleanser and not eliminate faster, put it in the toilet through the tailpipe, or change your oil filter, your liver, because your oil's going through the oil filter. If you have clean oil but a dirty oil filter, what are you going to have? You're going to have clean, dirty oil. You
Yeah.
got to clean the oil filter. So push it into the toilet, change the oil filter with your liver, clean the blood by cleaning your blood and your lymphatics, getting all the toxicity out of your lymphatics, and then clean up your urinary tract and keep it all flowing into the toilet. Doing that, you're automatically going to eliminate two of the disease states from your body: parasites and toxins. And we're not doing it fast. I go to the bathroom 2, maybe 3 times a day normally. I still take the cleansers because I know, and when I do, it's amazing the stuff that comes out. And you would think I'd be healthy. I hydrate properly, I exercise, I get good sleep, I eat well, I try to eat organically and as natural as I can. I am not a fast food guy, never have been. My father never had dessert, so I don't eat sugar. I'm not a dairy guy. My dad hated milk, so we never drank milk. So I don't do dairy. I don't do sugar. I eat a lot of vegetables. I am a carnivore, so I do like my proteins. and I feel better when I'm eating proteins. So I have an 80-20 diet, 80% protein, 20% carbs, and then I try to do my leafy vegetables.
Hmm.
But the TBC, it's extremely important every 6 months, and I can't talk enough about it. I do the O, which is my organic oils of a 3, 6, and 9. I take OGARD about 3 times a week. I do AA. I do, which is my mitochondria repair formula. I do AI, which is my anti-inflammatory BBC, KBV, TB4. I do the arnica spray, which is arnica, BBC, KPV, TA1, and copper. And these are the things I do every day like clockwork.
Here's
I'm 65 years old and I do circles around it, everybody I know, actually.
your high energy guy.
I am. I'm very high energy. I'm very creative.
Yeah.
Um, I'm very passionate.
And a great musician, by the way. Some
Oh,
great
thanks for
tracks.
that plug.
Well, you sent me those tracks, and looking to get that Spotify link. I sent it to my sons, my boys. One's got a quarter, more over, no, about a 250,000 followers, and the other one is getting a million, anywhere between, like 20,000 and a few million views. I can't guarantee which one he'll put it on, but it's Japanese. There's some really good stuff. Grace is a great
Thank you.
singer. The other gal was phenomenal. I mean, all of. We'll talk about that some other time.
That's so great, Kelly. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me.
yeah,
I never ever thought that I would do anything but music.
yeah. You do it
You know, when
well.
I came to LA, I sang backgrounds for Quiet Riot.
Hmm.
I was only here for like 6 weeks, so mental health record and and I thought, I played with Keith Knudsen
Oh yeah,
and John McVie and Timmy
the,
Bogart
the
from
dudes.
Bogart Beck a Piece.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did a lot of playing, and
names.
I really thought that I was gonna, that was all I was gonna do my whole life, and I still do it, and I still believe that one day I will, Kelly. I can't stop believing it.
Well, I planted a seed. I won't. I because this is a podcast. I won't get into what that seed was, but I had a phone call the other day, just in mentioning, hey, I got a new buddy who's got. Hey, let's talk one more thing though, because this is really critical for health, and then we'll talk about the other stuff off air. But and that would be many people. They drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. They got the COVID shot. They got the shot. Uh, some people are still living with the ramifications. Some haven't even made it this far. If someone were trying to purge themselves of spike proteins, is there anything in your stable that would help them purge their body of spike proteins?
Yes, it's called nattokinase. It's an enzyme. It's a gut enzyme, and it works to decrease the coagulation within the circulatory system. And it's been proven in Japan's studies that it actually helps get rid of that. And I can't talk enough about MOTS on a mitochondrial repair and repairing our MNA. And by doing so, I would also include MNN, and I do that in AA. I also have a product called Z-Guard
Mhm.
that eliminates the zombie cells. So these are the things you want to
Mm.
do because they will be in your free radicals. They will be in your cells that aren't doing anything for you. And so eliminate it. And yeah, that's what I would do. And but nattokinase, and that's in NGuard for enzymes. So nattokinase.
Great. Well, listen, I think anything else that we've missed, we've gone.
Yeah, I
Pardon?
think a real important one is pH.
Let's talk about it. 100%.
pH is there's a couple things. So
Let's
pH
do it.
is a drop. You take one drop of pH guard in water in anything, and it's going to raise the pH of it. And what you're doing is you're increasing the pH of everything you're putting in your body. So you can take one drop of pH drops in your coffee. It will change the pH of the coffee to a 7. It's no longer acidic, but you're still getting the caffeine. You're still tasting coffee. It's beautiful. It's great, and it's inexpensive. That's one. Another one that we can talk about is V-Guard. V-Guard is a very, very powerful immune system booster, and it gets rid of the brain fog caused by you know what.
Mm, that
It,
bad
it, it,
disease.
it will get rid of that brain fog. It also will get rid of herpes.
What's it called?
V-Guard
The
for V
V
for
guard.
viral. It's a really, really important formula in my stack of formulas. Um,
How does that work? Because I know, like if you take, it would arginine, you take arginine. So, dosing on
arg-
arginine can cause the herpes virus to flare up.
It will, because what it does is arginine is really good for male response.
Hmm.
So if you want to get an erection, arginine, right? And
Hmm.
building muscle, arginine.
Hmm.
But it's a heater. It heats up your heat energy. So the viruses come out from heat, especially herpes. If you like take spicy, if you have a lot of problems with herpes and you take spice, you're gonna get a you're gonna get a cold sore. So you want to try to avoid arginine with herpes. This does not have arginine; it has lysine in it, and it
Lysine,
has
yeah.
something called larch tree berry. And I think the larch tree berry is really the messenger for the lysine, because lysine is really the amino acid that helps with the herpes virus. But what's interesting about this formula is it really, really is great, because the other virus that we know about and we can't talk about uh, is is a nerve virus. So it makes total sense that VGuard is a antiviral for herpes would work for this other virus. It's a nerve virus, and
Mm.
you get rid of the brain fog right away. So I take whenever I travel, I take three VGuards before I go to bed every night. If I feel anything coming on, a cold or anything, I take three, like 2 or 3 times a day. Next day, I'm good. No cold, no fever, no runny nose. I mean, I just went home the other day, and there was people there that they didn't want to take supplements, and some of my families don't take supplements. I don't care. Do it if you want to. You don't have to. But they're telling me about how they had a cold for a month. Oh, you sound like you got a cough. Yeah, I'll get home. I'll take VGuard and I'll be fine tomorrow. And that's exactly what happened. They still got their cough.
Mm.
They still got their cold. It's like really seriously, it works that well. Um, Um, and then also when you're eliminating and when you're doing a cleanse or you're doing a fast, and a lot of people in micro fasting is very, very healthy. It cleans the cells, gets rid of the damaged cells, helps your body eliminate and dead cells in your body, and
Mhm.
helps your cells rejuvenate when you fast. But it's very important to keep the minerals and the essential minerals in your body when you fast or you cleanse. And you can do that with MN Guard, the mineral powder supplement. And I take MN about every other day. It's got all the essential minerals, including fulvic acid and Himalayan sea salts, which are these essential minerals that we don't get in our diet anymore. They're depleted from the soil. They don't come in any of our food. You have to get them. Fulvic acid goes down 400 feet in the Himalayas, and they pull those minerals out. It's called fulvic acid, and it has all the essential minerals in it that we don't get in our diet.
Mm.
So fulvic acid is a real important one. So I like talking about that. When you're working out, you always want to help your adrenals. And people who work out a lot get adrenal fatigue and they don't know why they're not going to another level.
Mm.
Whether they're being athletes, they just can't go to the next level. It's because their adrenals are fatigued. You got to tonify your adrenals, and you do that with AG guard. So you can get that stamina back, whatever it is that you finally hit that plateau. Um, so there's a lot of really, really good formulas here that really will improve your life, and they're very target specific.
I'm not gonna let you escape this one because to me it was extremely interesting. A lot of them are actually. I could incorporate a lot of those into my lifestyle, but primarily this one. I became a coffee drinker last year in
Huh.
Japan. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I'd be in Japan because you get those iced coffees out of the refrigerator
oh yeah.
concession stands that are on every corner that no one tries to break into, amazingly. And the
That's right.
coffee's really good. And but so I came home, and obviously my wife makes a pretty good cup of coffee, and started drinking it, even with the blood pressure and the heartburn and all that kind of stuff. So you have, for coffee drinkers, a supplement of sort that you could put into the coffee to take away the acidity, but also enhance the nutritional value of coffee. Let's discuss that before we go.
So you're talking about the superfood nutritional formula.
I am.
Yeah, so the superfood is made with goat's milk and coconut milk. And it's also fortified with all the minerals and vitamins that you would give your 1-year-old kid, that you could give your 90-year-old mom as a drink. Put it into 6 ounces of water, and it's so good. I use it as my creamer. So I add it to my tea, I add it to my coffee. So you're not only are you getting support for your gut biome because it does have nattokinase, so you're getting the gut biome with probiotics and
Mhm.
prebiotics, which is really going to help with your acid reflux. By the way, if you're having acid reflux, so instead of getting the acid reflux from the coffee, put in the superfood, and it'll decrease, it'll eliminate that problem, but you're getting your essential minerals and vitamins in your coffee in the morning with your creamer, and it tastes amazing. It's amazing tasting. Do you know why I use goat milk instead of cow's milk? Goat milk has an enzyme that creates uh, congestion,
Mm.
mucus.
Hmm.
That cow's milk enzyme is what gives ear infections and eczema and psoriasis to babies, because you can't digest it, especially if you're lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
But even if you're not lactose intolerant and you think you're digesting it, you're really not. And that enzyme is what creates all that mucic buildup. So if you is because of the dairy from cow's milk. That enzyme doesn't exist in goat's milk.
Oh, that's
All
interesting.
of my kids grew up on goat's milk. They didn't have any cow's milk. They
Mm.
don't have mucus. Their immune systems are amazing. No vaccination, no cow's milk, no sugar. I use stevia for everything from the time they were babies until they were on their own. And, they don't go to the doctor. They don't get sick. They don't do that because they believe in it. But that's the superfood nutritional formula, Kelly. And it's fabulous. I'm glad you brought it up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah, it's
mentioned
a
it to my wife.
great meal replacement powder.
Interesting. What's it called?
Superfood nutritional formula.
Superfood nutritional.
Yeah,
Well,
powder.
Dino, I guess that's it, but
Oh,
there could be more
oh yeah.
because the way I'm going to edit this is, like I'll do the ending when I have to do the ending. What else do you have? And I'll lead in a question with it. Are there, because there's so many products, it's like I also wanted to talk about quality control and stuff. I mean, we could do it again, but
I do too.
yeah,
The manufacturing, what makes us special on the manufacturing side? People want to know what's going on with manufacturers. How do you make these products? How do you make them and make sure that they're true to the efficacy of the label?
yep,
Well, you don't without testing them. You have to test, and you have to test to label to EXP date. You don't just test it. You test the materials coming in. You do it with identity. If you got a potency, then you make sure your potency's there. But always check the identity of the product to make sure it's what it's supposed to be.
hmm,
And then, so for instance, if it's like acerillo berry and you're doing acerillo, but you really want to do it because you want the vitamin C content. So acerillo is 17% ascorbic acid. A lot of people use that for their vitamin C. Now, if you're going to do a vitamin C where you want 1,000 milligrams, you can't use aceryl berry because it's only 17% elemental vitamin C.
hmm,
You would need 2,000 milligrams of it or more just to get 500, right? So you
hmm,
use ascorbic acid or you use sodium ascorbate, but you want to test it to ensure that it's aceryl berry. Then you want to test it to ensure that it's 17% ascorbic acid, so that when you're using it as a vitamin C, you know that you're getting the right amount of ascorbic acid in the formula from the acerillo. These are very critical proponents of making an, a product to its full efficacy. So it's about incoming testing, then it's about testing for potencies, and then you have to mix right. When we do our oral peptides, we do a step in our oral peptides that takes us 3 times longer than it would, but I will not do it without doing that step. And that's my IP, and I will never tell anybody what we do, but we make sure, because when you have 500 milligrams in a capsule, but you only want 500 micrograms of BBC 157, how are you going to do that? And make sure that every pill has 500 micrograms of BBC 157 in it. It's about how you process it. You have to take the time to do it right to make sure that the BBC 157 at 500 micrograms is across every single pill that you're taking. That's very special processing, and it's a labor of love.
And you do it in your own facility. There are many people who import product and they go through uh, through third party quality control processes, correct?
Every single product that I sell and market, I make from raw stock. I don't buy anything that's pre-made and then put it in a bottle and sell it. I will never do that. I do make product for other people. I am a contract manufacturer, and I believe I make the best products for them, and I keep my customers because I do. But when it has Nutriments, which is the brand that I formulate, 100% of the Nutriments products are made at my company under my supervision.
Yeah, which is critical and it's important to know because you never know where you're getting it from, who you're getting it from. And I'll give you a real quick example. I was manufacturing, almost got the deal with Disney, and it would have been to support something that they had going on. It was an initiative called Healthy Choice, Disney Healthy Choice. And we were going to create a drink. It was called Orchard Clear. And it was a clear can with an aluminum lid, like a pull tab. And in China, they had just gotten busted for putting poisonous ingredients in dog food. And so all shipments of food products from China were forfeited. And definitely we lost our deal because of that. So I'm very familiar with the need for, QC when it comes to something like this. So it's pretty important that you know where it's
So
coming from.
let me talk about China from a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want raw materials from China. Do you get your raw materials from China?" So just like there's good people in the United States and there's bad people in the United States, there's good actors in China and there's bad actors in China. And what's important is I've been to the labs in China where I buy the raw materials. I've been there, I've visited them, I've seen their SOPs, I've seen their quality controls, I've seen their processes, and I won't do it unless I have. But I have. I've been to China. I've spent time there going to each and every factory and talking to the factory owners and saying, look I've turned down factories in China. I've been to factories in China that weren't clean. You didn't really know what their quality controls were, didn't look like they had any. And I
Hmm.
said, we'll never buy product from them. But there's good, high quality labs in China that make high quality products. And one of the things you have to do is by GMP standards, you have to qualify your suppliers, which means that you have to test those raw materials from that supplier. And to qualify them, you're supposed to test it 3 times. And the results have to be positive results 3 times. And then they're qualified. We do that. We'll buy 3 different batches. We'll send it. We'll test it here. We do the identity testing on them. Kelly, we reject 5 or 6 raw materials a year.
Mm.
We go through a lot of raw materials. We reject 5 or 6 a year that don't test out. But for the most part, when you're using a high quality facility that has the efficacy and the passion of love and labor like I do, you're going to have high quality products because they're keeping the bar up just like I am. They expect me to keep the bar up when I'm making the product because they're counting on me to continue to buy those raw materials for them. So they don't want me to degrade the product either. So these are real partnerships, and these are partnerships that are made on trust. And you have to trust that they're going to continue to give you that product because they trust that you're going to continue to do it perfect and put it in a capsule perfectly.
Mm.
So it's a partnership.
Speaking of partnerships, why don't you go over the opportunity that exists between medical and health practitioners and yourself with all these great products?
Well, I can say this. I don't think doctors make enough money. I think that they're more valuable than that. And I don't think that they need to be marginalized like they are. Uh, I think they are marginalized. To say that they're great business people would kind of be a stretch because a lot of them don't know how to manage their finances. And I think they'd admit that that's true. Um, but they're brilliant for what they do and they need to be compensated for it. And so I've taken upon myself to make sure that I put economic systems in place with my products so that the doctors can make money, so that when they sell these products. But at the end of the day, and they will tell you this, that it's all about whether the product works for the patient the way it's supposed to. And I can promise these doctors, they have a partnership with Nutriments and me, they're going to get the results that they expect. And their customers are going to keep coming back. Their patients are going to keep coming back to them because they're going to get the results. Now it's up to them to give them the service. Doctors are a service industry. They're like plumbers, electricians. They're they're a service. And they have a patient, they have one patient, they service that patient, they charge that patient, that's what they get. It's a linear model. I turn a doctor into a vertical model. To now he has an annuity that he continues to buy. When he buys from me, his patient that he's giving that supplement to or that peptide to is always his patient, whether that patient goes to him or not. He
Mm.
gets that annuity. That's the difference between me and every other supplement company out there. I
Yeah.
promise the doctor that he will continue to get that patient as an annuity on the sale of that supplement because that person will continue to buy it.
Yeah.
It's a vertical model, not a linear one anymore.
Yeah. And as people start doubting the efficacy of medical professionals, this is a great opportunity for them to make a difference in projecting better health to their patients, who essentially are customers as well at the same time, but giving them something that they keep coming back for as opposed to something that they regret having to take, like a pharmaceutical ad nauseum, which you had mentioned, elderly have nine, on average, nine prescriptions. Well, what if they didn't, right? So it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's big business, and there's a lot of people out there that are helping people, um, but it's not the only answer.
yeah,
And the bad effects are bad. So, is it worth it? And you
yeah.
started this out by talking about quality of life. That longevity is not about what did you say? It said life,
I said
the
it's not
quality of
about
life
the
is the
length of
life
life. It's not about adding longevity to your life. It's more about adding life to your years, to your longevity.
precisely,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So if the quality of life goes down, then
What
where's
good
that
is it?
going? What's the
Right.
point, right? Really?
Laying there like
And
a veg, your
yeah,
prostate's the size of a watermelon. It's just not, there's so many different kinds of things that can be treated naturally, and finding natural remedies, at least stuff that's bio. identical, which is a buzzword, which is a keyword, which is important, certainly seems to be better than something that is not. And that's what we've been filling ourselves with for going on 80, 90 years, ever since the early 1920s, mid 1900s, 1915, whatever, whenever that whole Rockefeller, Johns Hopkins thing kicked in, and we got ourselves into a big bunch of a big mess, quite
It's a
frankly.
conundrum now.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Well,
is.
they're trying. They now it's we've cornered them.
It's,
Now RFK has come in and he's on our side. What's your take on RFK?
I think RFK is bringing a lot of visibility to the issues.
Yeah,
And I love the fact that he's bringing a lot of visibility to the issues.
yeah.
I know that he's got an uphill climb. And all I would like to say is, RFK, I would love to help you climb that mountain. RFK, I will be the first guy going up that mountain to help you climb it and conquer it. And if you want to lean on somebody, lean on Dino, because I know what I'm doing and I know how we can help people. I think he's made a huge impact. I think he can make more impact. I hope he has the right people around him
Yeah.
to make that impact. And it's a very, very short period of time that he has. And the other thing is, I just hope that what he does, he makes it stick.
Yeah, it's 3 years. He's got 3 years. This is the time.
Make it stick.
This
You
is the
know,
time right now,
don't try
this
to bite off
minute.
more than you can chew. Focus on what you can accomplish and then make it real. Make it be real, you
Yeah,
know? Okay. And if he can do that, and I love the guy, actually, I think he's great.
yeah.
He's been through a lot of personal struggles, like I have, which fully knowledge, and he's come out with his dignity, and I just respect that so much. I have so much appreciation for him.
It's remarkable what he's accomplished
Yeah.
completely. It's
So my shout out to RFK is, I
yep.
would be honored and thrilled if I could help him take this hill.
He's a total advocate. He's a big deal. He takes the methylene blue. He's big into nicotinamide, the whole shooting. Man, boy,
Wow.
yeah, oh yeah,
That's
he's
so great.
big time. I mean,
That's awesome.
he's why we're having this conversation, probably.
Oral peptides. I'd love to have a conversation with him about it and about how we can figure out, if you want to make it a monogram, make it a monogram. If you
Yeah,
want to make it a dietary supplement, make it a dietary supplement. But don't leave it in no man's land like it is right now.
I almost wonder if he would be amenable to, because you're only in that position for a few years. How great of an advocate would he be to have his own line? It's just a thought. It's just a thought. I mean, he's
And then,
billionaire off of
and
it.
micro dosing is very, very safe.
Yeah,
There's no reason why we shouldn't open this up for people to do peptides, microdosing, and dietary supplement industry, and just let it flourish. And
microdose.
that's what I do. I microdose with oral peptides. I don't. I On botanicals, I believe in macrodosing and going and hitting it hard. When
Yeah,
with peptides, I believe in microdosing, steady microdosing, just a real steady trend line up, not these spikes where you're spiking your body every 7 days. And I think it's too much. I think
and
it's
you have to go
it
inside.
damages
You
more
you
than
have
it
to
helps.
cycle it too, so you have to get off of it for a while.
Right.
So with this, you're saying that the microdose allows you to take it on a regular schedule and not have to keep track of my cycle started 5.5 weeks ago. I've got another half week.
Right. But the key thing is that your body now is adjusting to it. It's you're now becoming, you're self-regulating instead of flooding your body with it to where your body's going, whoa, 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 whoa. You're actually taking your body out of balance by doing that. let your body absorb it as it needs to, use it as it needs to, get used to it. And it's amazing how your body will perform, will go to another level. You're allowing your body to do the work instead of forcing your body to do the work. There's a huge conception, just conceptuality of it changes everything.
Yeah.
My concept of it is different.
So Dino Guglielmelli, I appreciate you coming on the show. Of course, this is our maiden voyage. Thank you for your work and joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so proud and honored to be here, and I'm humbled by this long conversation we've had, and I just can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning into the Longevity Podcast Network. Remember, your health is a marathon, not a sprint. So keep the beat, stay rooted in nature, and let's add more life to your years and more years to your life. The Longevity Podcast Network, living proof that nature knows best. See you next time.